Hi, I'm Vicki Wessling here with City Speaks. City Speaks is a show that's been brought to you by Mayor Rosas and his administration to allow the residents for the City of Dunkirk to know what's going on in our community, what's happening. We want you to know what's going on, especially with our Planning and Development Department. And with that today we have two great people. We have our Director of Planning and Development, Rebecca Wurster. New name, congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
And our CDBG Administrator, Jill Meaux. Now, Jill, you're new to the area, so I'm going to start with you real quick. Tell us a little bit about what brought you here and what you can bring to the city.
Okay. Actually, I'm originally from the area. My family moved to Louisiana when I was in high school, and so I have spent the last several years in Louisiana. Most recently, I was an executive director for a nonprofit homeless service provider in Lafayette, Louisiana, where I managed several HUD grants and funding sources. And my family and I were interested in moving back home. And so we saw this opportunity, and I'm really excited and grateful for the chance to come back home and work for the city. And I work now as the Community Development Block Grant Program Administrator, which is a program funded through HUD. So it's kind of right up my alley, and I really love what I'm doing.
Well, we're happy to have you. We think that is great because this is really important. And now, because there's a lot going on with HUD and with the CDBG grant, and with HUD, with all the things that are happening there, I'm going to ask you a little bit about that. But before I get there, Rebecca, tell us about the news regarding the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, so the comprehensive plan is in draft form. The comprehensive plan just went through a public hearing, and we had to have a 10-day comment period. So that 10 days ended last Friday. We received some really good feedback from the community, from some residents, from the county, on giving us some input as well. And now that that's complete, we will be taking this draft plan to the Planning Advisory Committee that's set up for the comprehensive plan, and they will do a final review. Then that comprehensive plan will go to our council members for review. Once they review it, it then goes to the county and the Department of State for review. And then once they give their approvals, then the council will adopt the plan. So that's kind of our process, and we're hoping within the next 3 to 4 weeks we go through those steps and get everything finalized.
Now, help me, if I'm wrong, make sure you correct me here.
Okay.
But it's my understanding, and for the residents out there to understand, a comprehensive plan really looks at your structure of the city, where we should be having housing, where we should have businesses, where we need to have industry. So, and that's what has been lacking, because it's been how many years since we've had a comprehensive plan?
43.
So 43 years. So without a comprehensive plan, people can pretty much just, as long as something is zoned for that particular use, they can just do whatever they want there, and there may not be any real order. And so the comprehensive plan will actually look at that. Now, you're not just looking at businesses and residences. You're looking at our parks and all those other issues as well. Is that correct?
Parks, infrastructure, developments. It's really a broad spectrum of how you want to see your community build into the future. So it really guides your economic development for the future of the city. Typical comprehensive plans are updated every 10 years roughly. So it's been 43 years since we've updated this, and Mayor Rosas really understood that that was a need in our community to guide the future development of the City of Dunkirk. So it really looks at the economic development along Central Avenue. Bringing more businesses back downtown is a huge recommendation. Improving our waterfront. We're already doing some of those things, but to keep building upon that. Housing, different recommendations for improving our neighborhoods and our housing stock, bringing in more senior housing, bringing in more market rate apartments, and different choices for our housing and for our community and for our residents, especially with Athenex coming, with new people coming in for those new jobs. We want to give options, so it's important that that's within our comprehensive plan, because then when we go out to look for developers that want to do those projects in our community, they know that our community is behind that senior housing or behind that market rate, and they understand the need. So that's why it's really important. And then you mentioned the zoning. Zoning kind of comes into play after the comprehensive plan, but within the comprehensive plan, we recommend that there needs to be some zoning updates, especially for some of the areas, you know, trying to get more businesses downtown. We want to not shy away from new businesses locating outside of our business district, but it's really important to bring those new businesses downtown in our downtown areas that already have that infrastructure available, to create more development and foot traffic in our downtown areas.
And you talk about small businesses, and that leads into one of this small business development. Tell me about that with CDBG HUD.
So yes, this is really an exciting program. We have, through the Community Development Block Grant Program, HUD has provided funds to the city for this small business development loan program. And so what it is it offers an opportunity for small businesses, new entrepreneurs, either startups or existing businesses, to expand, and it provides funds for these folks to be able to invest in their business and create this economic opportunity. And what's really neat about this program, and what makes it different from just a commercial loan or traditional lending program, is that, you know, these are mom and pops that have an idea but don't have any idea on how to get started or what to do to get their business off the ground. And so this project offers additional services in that we can help these folks with training and understanding how to do this. And so if somebody had an idea for a business and wanted to open it up, but needed some extra working capital, they could call us and apply for this program. And what we offer is that we would be able to, I would sit with them and walk them through the application process and help them understand what is a business plan, and how do you make this, and how do you apply for these funds, and then once you have them, what do? We provide them access to training, and we have a loan review committee that has been developed that consists of members from 3 different financial institutions in town that are helping us also with this program. And so it goes through the loan review process, and then once they have received the loan, I continue to check in with them. So I'll continue to work with this business owner so that if they encounter any challenges or things come up that they don't understand, I can help them work through this stuff and help them understand, so that it's easier for them to take care of business.
So if I want to open a bookstore, I just want to have a small bookstore on the Central Avenue somewhere, I don't care where, I would contact you, and you would say, well, these are the sites that we have available, or these are the locations that fit within your needs and with the city's needs. So not only would I receive direction from you, I would receive training, I would get follow-up feedback, and there would be funds available to help me start up this business. Is that correct?
Yes, and the primary goal is, there are a couple of primary goals for the program. One is obviously economic development for the city, but also to provide opportunity for low to moderate income persons in creating jobs and business opportunities, so that we can provide the funds to help them grow and succeed.
Okay, and so it's not just for startup businesses. If I already have that bookstore, but I'm struggling a little bit and I'm really not doing very well, my profit isn't what it needs to be, I could contact you, and then you would also help me with that, to do a review and possibly have funds available. Absolutely.
So some of the things that the funds could be used for is operating capital, or investing in equipment or inventory. It can be used for oh gosh, let's see, equipment, inventory, renovating or upgrading your building. So if your shop, you know, you really need to paint, kind of spruce things up, maybe get a new sign, make it, you know, more attractive, so that to attract more customers, these funds could be used for that type of a project.
What number would they call?
They can call me. The direct number to my desk is 366-9878, and that comes straight to me.
So if you're thinking about opening a business, if you have a business and you're struggling, you need some help, you would need to call Jill Meaux at 366-9878. 9878. Okay, very good. Tim, we've also had some exciting things that have been going on. We have our dog park that's finally open. That's taken a couple of months, a year or so to get going.
It's been a long process, but yes, we're finally open. There's some really great large dog side, small dog side. You can bring your dogs, you know, from morning to evening. Everyone's welcome. There's even a little doggy bridge that the dogs can go up and over. A community board is going to be installed so people can post anything about, you know, adoptions of animals. You know, it's meant for the community to utilize that board, so that will be installed shortly. And then the next piece is the building on the property is going to be the city's animal shelter. So right now we have our building and zoning department working on some architecture plans because we're fortunate to have a building inspector that is also a certified architect. So he's going to work on some plans for that to get that moving to bring the animal shelter to that building.
So that's good because there's been some conversation, some concern about certainly our animal shelter needed to be redone, and people have really been wanting the dog park.
Yeah.
The pier is unbelievable. Yeah. That pier, if you haven't been to the pier, you need to go. It is really beautiful. Great job. Now tell me a little bit. That came about, that's a part of the Central Connections, correct?
Yes, it's smart growth funding that we won in 2018. We won $2.5 million to do enhancements to Central Avenue and to Dunkirk's pier, and also include a small private project at the pier. Right now, as you can see, the pier project is complete. We still have a couple more things that we would like to include that we're working on. So things like that the community has actually brought to us, such as the buoys, to have some life preservers on the pier. We're working on getting grant funding for those, and some additional Adirondack chairs. We're even thinking about getting some outdoor large-scale lawn games to have on the green spaces at the pier. So those are some small pieces that, you know, we couldn't include in the overall grant funding, but we're still getting additional funds to make that an opportunity. And then we have a private project that will be a concession/beverage stand right at the pier that will be actually starting construction on the actual building structure within the next week. So that will be moving along very quickly too.
So things have really begun to happen. Yeah. Now, one of the things that I noticed that in the last several weeks is that there's somebody walking around with a clipboard measuring trees and looking at trees. Tell me about the tree program.
That is a program that we also won grant funding for, to do a tree inventory of all the city's trees, as well as a management plan to look forward to the future of maintenance and planting of the trees. So Jill, do you want to go into a little more detail on that?
Yeah, this is a really neat project. So we were awarded this grant to do this inventory, and so the people that you saw walking around with their tape measures were actually surveying, taking a census of all the trees in the city. And so they were measuring them, and they were assessing the condition of the trees, and they were plotting them on a map. And that map is now accessible to city residents. Can log on to dunkirkny.treekeepersoftware.com, and you can type in your address. Let's say you have a tree in front of your house and you want to know what kind it is. So you can type in your address, and it'll pull up a map, and you just click on the little green dot, and it'll show you, oh, that's a maple tree. And it's neat for the residents to be able to identify the trees around the city. But more importantly, it's very helpful for the city in future planning, so that we have an inventory and we know what beautiful natural resources we have, and then we know the condition of these resources. So it helps us plan more strategically our upkeep and maintenance and planting for the future, so that we have now been able to identify which trees need pruning. And so we can see which ones need more pruning.
So if I have a tree in front of my house that, you know, maybe has some obvious dead limbs or has some issues, that tree now will show up on this inventory, and as a result of that, the information then will be provided to our DPW department.
Yes.
So they know, hey, look, that tree looks like it needs to come down, or that tree looks like it needs some work.
Yes.
So that's really, you know, that's really great, because there are a lot of old trees in the area that could do that. Tell me about the Sidewalk Program.
So this is another really neat program that we're doing through CDBG funding through HUD. And what we're doing is, the initial phase 1 is we've identified some sidewalks in low to moderate income areas of the city that need attention, that need repair and replacement. So we have been working on repairing and replacing those blocks of those bricks, those blocks of concrete, to replace the sidewalks in those towns. And so these sidewalks, we're determined that they needed the most attention, and so those are the ones that are working on now. And what we have plans for is another phase of this. So I am taking phone calls from city residents who, we can't see everything, so we appreciate when people call and let us know about things that are happening in their neighborhoods. So if there's a broken sidewalk in front of somebody's house, they can call me, same number as before, and we're making a list, and I'm jotting down all the names and addresses, so for a future phase 2 project.
So now, will the sidewalk replacement be cost to the homeowner?
No, not through this particular program. The city has a couple of different sidewalk programs. This one uses grant funding through HUD, and it is no cost to the homeowner.
And this one, HUD funds, it has to be within a low to moderate income neighborhood, and the mayor also wants to emphasize the importance of the walkability to schools. So if it's a very highly walkable area that kids take this traffic to get back and forth to schools, he's really noting that as well. So
or strollers.
Yes.
So we're really looking at the sidewalk program is very different than the one that typically comes out in the spring of each year, that you pay a portion and then the city pays a portion and the sidewalk gets replaced. This is really targeting those areas that have high traffic areas, walking traffic areas, preferably around schools, the low to middle income neighborhoods, so that those sidewalks can be made safe. And when I look at this, when I think about all the different things that we've done, the grants, the money that comes into the city, and I know people say, well, they're not free, you're paying for it, and that's true. But
that could go to another community, and we could lose out on that. And that's why grant funding is so huge and important. At least we're getting that funding. So, if you think of it that way, at least it's not going to another city, it's going to your city. So, I think that's important.
So you're paying for, when the governor or the federal government puts a grant in place, they'll say, I'm going to put X number of dollars for sidewalk repair, for downtown business. You can't take that money and say, well, hey, we don't want to use this for sidewalks, we're going to use this for streetlights over here, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So that if when we apply for the grants, we're in competition with other municipalities for that money, for those grants. Yep. So you guys have done a great job. You brought in a lot of grants.
Thank you. Yes.
So what are we looking at as far as future? What do you have in the pot right now?
Well, there's a lot of brownfields in our community, and we've gone through our phase 1 and phase 2 brownfield opportunity area plans, and we're officially designated what's known as a BOA community. So based on our second phase 2 BOA plan, we designated our brownfield areas and identified some brownfield sites that need cleanup and remediation so that we can redevelop those sites. And DEC has just put out a grant funding opportunity to get some funds to clean up some of these brownfields. So that's a grant application that we'll be looking into very shortly.
And when we talk about brownfields, one of the areas that was a brownfield site that was cleaned up was the one over on Lucas Avenue.
Yes. Yep.
And so that now has been cleaned up and is ready to develop.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And we think about some other things. Now, we had a grant funding. I know that the DPW department really worked on the Howard Street Bridge But now you also worked on that as well, did you not?
No, that was more of a DPW project, but
wasn't there some grant funding involved with that?
some paperwork that was involved. Yeah, of course, there's always paperwork. But no, Randy Woodbury did a great job in getting those funds for that project, which was desperately needed, and the mayor really pushed to get that grant funding as well. So that was a really great collaboration between them.
Right, and that provided fire safety to all those residents who lived there.
Yes, that
who
was
went,
huge.
What was it, 10 years without fire safety?
Yes.
Yeah. So grant funding is critical, and so even though it may come from DPW, it may come from the Planning and Development Department, that is really critical to our area, and it's been a real success. Tell me about the Historical Museum. You've done some stuff over there.
Yes. So one of the things that the mayor had indicated that he really wanted to work on when he came into office was working with the Historical Museum and the Dunkirk Historical Society. So that's another community development block grant program where we've provided funds through that grant source for them to be able to renovate their building. And so what they're doing at the Historical Museum is really kind of nice. They have upgraded their palladium windows, so they're really beautiful now. They were inefficient and really old. They're installing emergency panic exit, for the doors. And so they're doing a lot of renovation to the brickwork so that this beautiful building that we have in our community doesn't crumble and fall down. So
and they do a lot of good things. Certainly the Historical Museum. I mean, if you go in there,
really nice.
It's really really phenomenal. Everybody wants to know about housing, the dilapidated housing. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's another program that's funded through HUD that we received funds for. We also work hand in hand with the land bank on some demolition as well. So I know Jill and our building and zoning department have really been focusing on some of those derelict properties that need to come down. And Jill, you can elaborate a little more on that.
Yeah, so we have gone into a couple of properties that the land bank owns and has identified as blighted properties in our town. We've done initial asbestos testing and on 5 properties, and so we are in the process now of we just put that out to bid. We've received back the proposals, and we have 2 properties that will be coming down I think within the next probably month or so. And then there's one that needs some asbestos removal, and then there's 2 others that need attention. So we're moving forward on 2 projects immediately, and 3 are
in the works, right?
Yes.
Cold storage warehouse.
Yeah.
How's it going?
That is an amazing project that is almost complete. Mayor Rosas and I actually just took a tour yesterday, and it's a really, really amazing, beautiful facility. They've done a wonderful job. We're really excited about that officially being opened and ready to go. Probably the beginning of November will be the first shipment of when Fieldbrook can actually utilize the site for cold storage of their ice cream. So really exciting. That project has taken a brownfield, cleaned up that brownfield, and then developed on the site. That's a perfect example of brownfield redevelopment and what we want to do in the city of Dunkirk. So,
and when we talk about brownfield, once an area is designated as a BOA, or Brownfield Opportunities Area, there is funding available to help that developer, right?
There's brownfield cleanup credit incentives, yes. So they get certain incentives on cleaning up and developing on that brownfield. So it's a huge opportunity for the city to bring in development. Yeah.
Okay. And we have some other things going on. We have the NRG feasibility study.
Yep.
How's that going?
That's good as well. Actually, yesterday as well was a busy day for the mayor and I. We met with our consultants and with the county. It's a joint partnership on trying to get trying to develop a plan for the NRG site. So currently our phase 1 is looking at the current condition, understanding the environmentals of the site and what we can and can't propose on the site. So really yesterday was all about touring the facility, understanding what type of environmentals and what type of things we're dealing with that make up that whole entire NRG site. And our consultants will be working really hard on putting together a really nice document that explains and understands what we can move forward with proposing some options for redevelopment or for reuse of the building. So we're hoping to move forward. Obviously, that is our #1 biggest project, I'd say, in the city, and it's so important that we have this feasibility study first, then go into the planning phases of moving forward with which direction we move in. So it's a huge project, and obviously we want to get that back on the tax rolls for the city, county, and school.
Absolutely.
So that's Mayor Rosas' #1 project right now, I'd say.
And we're going into getting ready for 2020, and we're looking at, certainly we still have comments about the Central Avenue and the building and the businesses there, and I know that that's one of your priorities for 2020 is to develop that area. Do you have anything you can share, anything special going on, or are you just...
Yeah, I'd say, you know, we worked diligently this past summer on putting together a grant application for Central Avenue, the 300, 400, and 500 block.
Yes.
Am I saying that correctly?
And
Yes.
200.
200 as well, to get some facade improvement funding for Central Avenue. We put in a grant for $500,000. This December we'll find out if we were awarded that funding so that we can work with private property owners to improve the facades and make people want to come in and bring their businesses to downtown Dunkirk. They might see a building that's kind of dilapidated or, you know, missing some shutters or something, and say, why would I want to locate my business here? So it's so important to also visually improve our Central Avenue and our buildings. And we have a really great turnout of property owners that want to be a part of this grant application. So we included them all in this application, and hopefully, again, fingers crossed, in December, if we win the funding, that will be a huge improvement. And then obviously trying to bring in more businesses is key, and we're hoping that this DLDC loan program will bring in and entice more new businesses to want to come down to downtown.
Well, you know, and I think that there's so much going on. It's such an exciting time, and you ladies are so busy with so much happening. You really are, and it's really remarkable to see that Dunkirk really is becoming a destination with what's happened with the waterfront, what's the continued building there, the continued economic development, the housing, what we're doing with housing. You know, just looking at the entire area has just been phenomenal. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
Is there
having
anything
us.
I haven't touched on that we need to talk about?
Oh gosh, I think you've gotten everything. For now, I'm sure there's plenty more, but
Well, it's wonderful having you here. It really is, and it's great for our residents to know what's happening in our city, because many of them don't know. So thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Jill. And Jill, what's that phone number again?
366-9878.
366-9878. Call Jill. And thank you. Thank you for watching City Speaks. You can watch us on Spectrum 1301 daily at 3 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Catch us on Dunkirk Access YouTube anytime. And thank you. Send your questions. Let me know what you think. Send an email, vwessling@cityofdunkirk.com. Call me 363-6888. And have a great day.